very good afternoon to everyone present and welcome to our first ever fashion communication panel. Today's topic of discussion is the future of fashion narratives. We're incredibly lucky to have a diverse panel with us today. We have Urvashi Gupta from WGSN, who works at the intersection of forecasting, retail strategy, and consumer insight. May I please request you to be seated? Charudat Chitrak, one of India's most respected photographers and visual storytellers, whose work spans fashion, advertising, and deeply human social narratives. Jayanti Chaudhary, who has worked extensively in building accessible yet aspirational beauty and lifestyle brands for the Indian consumer. Anjaya Bhatt, co-founder of Indegene Craft, which explores how traditional craft can remain contemporary, relevant, and emotionally resonant today. Thank you all for being here. We, as fashion communicators, have learned that stories move differently. Narratives are shaped by creators, communities, algorithms, craft traditions, and increasingly by people wanting something real. So today's conversation is really about this shift. What will fashion storytelling look like in the next 5 to 10 years? What kind of narratives will survive? And what will audiences actually connect with? We would also sit down now.
So
my voice is so loud anyway. Everybody complains.
So, good afternoon. For starters, I'd love to know, just a quick few thoughts about the exhibition, everything that you saw, what you felt, if you liked something.
You want to press it? Hello? Oh, that's loud. So firstly, to answer your question, so we might be sitting on this side, but we are all very confused. So nobody knows. That's the first part. So it's a collaboration. First thing is a collaboration. Secondly, I think I'm so inspired and impressed with what I saw today. And I think we were all discussing about it. So it's not about this side and that side, because I'm always on this side of the camera and that side is the glamorous part, right? So it's not about this side and that side. So I think the discussion is about how we all can work together, be relevant, no matter how old, no matter how experienced, because technology has made us all on the same level. So it's not like we have some gyan to give you guys. It should always be more interactive, right?
Absolutely. I completely agree with Charu. I think when I came in here, I was just wowed and I was just telling him, it's been so long since I have seen absolutely uninhibited approach, because we all work in a very refined and a very constrained environment. And very refreshing to see how, the young college students have integrated what is happening in their life. Like somebody has shown a very absolute authentic storytelling there. We were just looking at that. And of course, the lines have blurred. Technology has put us at par. We are all at the same level. Information has not been this accessible ever. And in a way that it is assimilated for you to comprehend without too much of support. So we are all on the same level. Nobody really knows where it is going to go. So I think let's just hang on to each other and see how it takes us across.
Yeah, I think I was really awed by the variety of the projects that all the students have put across, from craft to circular to feminism to superstar, of course. So yeah, I think it's a wow moment, and well done.
Yeah, so the moment I entered here, I actually saw how, and I'm from the forecasting business. So I've been working for trend forecasting in the trend forecasting company for over 15 years now. And I think what we are looking and what we are forecasting as the world to change, or what the changes that we are actually forecasting, I could actually see it here. Whether it was about changing from rigid fashion to, let's say, a fluid kind of a communication, a very consistent flow in terms of your, communicating, a brand communicating with the customer, whether it is about their identity, whether it is about designing a campaign, to the current thing of, localization or regenerative roots, or going back to your traditions, using it as a psychological anchor, mixing and matching with the way you guys have dressed up. I've observed quite a lot of people here, and I mean, it's quite refreshing to see that. So I really loved it.
So this is just an open question to everybody. What do you think people are looking for when they see brands communicating their own narratives? And how do you think that it's different from what they were communicating maybe even 5 years ago?
Hello, hi. So I think one thing that is very, which is actually changing, and I think it's now changing at a much massive level, is authenticity. And it's not just authenticity by the word. I think what people are really looking for is authentic storytelling. Whether you're a Western brand, whether you're an Indian brand, whether you're a makeup brand, whatever your purpose is, just talk about it, and talk about it in the most authentic way. And given the way internet has now really created so many avenues for you to do that storytelling, it just gives you more surfaces to say the same consistent storytelling. So I think what largely, according to what we are also looking at, is consistency in your storytelling. So whatever you are, stand true to it, reflect on it, and represent that. I think that has never not been truer than what it is today, especially with the generation that is now going to be the more center part of the consumption story. And they are very clear that they are looking for things, they're looking for people who actually tell their true story rather than being performative about it. So I think that's what I feel.
I mean, my experience would be more of visual stuff because I'm a photographer. I would just like to add one thing here because for a lot of people, my generation, we learned it later, but in your generation, individuality is very important and it gets lost somewhere. We are always looking at second-hand information. So if I ask you something, if I say, okay, let's do an editorial for a magazine, first thing people do is go to Pinterest. Pinterest, okay, you take out references. Even clients come to us and say, show me where it is. I say, how can I show it to you? It's my idea. नहीं, कुछ दिखाओ, आगे दिखाना होता है ना, क्या करना है. So the client को क्या दिखाएंगे? Exactly. Client को क्या दिखाएंगे? So that has to change because everything you see on the internet is second-hand information. So we have been talking, and emotional intelligence gets lost there because you have seen something somebody else had created. You see Michelangelo, he's painted something, you're going to look at that and say, oh, my inspiration. So you create something. But how did he create? So I think the most important thing that should never get lost is process. AI has come. So it's a big topic for everyone. AI. People are losing their jobs, मैं भी सोच रहा हूँ कुछ नया करूँ. So, but I'm trying to learn AI also. So I won't say, and yeah, everybody tells you, it's a tool. So let me kill this myth right now. AI is not a tool. Tool is something which does not use its own brain. You have a hammer, you nail it. Wherever you want to nail it, you'll nail it. If the hammer starts telling you, no, this is wrong, you can't nail here, I will tell you a better idea how to nail, then that's not a tool. Okay? So what I feel in something that you can take forward is remember the process of doing something. Because our lives are a process. If I were to go for a shoot tomorrow, I will buy my air ticket, I'll do this, maybe the editor is having a fight with me, I reach late to the airport. This is our life. We have to live this life. That's our inspiration. If I'm sitting at the airport, I'm looking at light falling on someone, I see this woman carrying her baby, I see a man and a woman standing, I try and think, what is the relationship? Are they couples? Are they brother and sister? This is, new ideas will come out of it. You can tell AI, show me a mother and a sister, mother and a daughter sitting together, and it'll create something out of data. It might look really nice. But then you will slowly start losing your power. And your power is also the power of accepting failure. You got to accept failure. Failure is a big part of our lives. You create something, it'll not work. Then people will say, oh, you don't know anything, I can't give you a job. That's the process of life. You cannot sit in one room and just create. So that is very, very important, I think, process.
Thank you so much. I think the first thing I'm going to do after this panel is delete that Pinterest off my phone.
No, you don't have to do that.
To Urvashi ma'am, this question. We're seeing consumers move away from overly polished narratives to something more real and relatable. So we'd like you to throw some light on this shift from a fashion forecasting perspective.
So that's a very good question, actually. So in the language of forecasting, we call it messy realism. Okay. So what is happening is that, get ready with me, let's say a small influencer, messy bedroom at the background, that get ready with me video is giving you 1,000 clicks or, in a matter of a certain stipulated time. Whereas $1 million photo shoot might not be that important. So what is happening in terms of this hyper-realism stage is that people have the consumers are actually exhausted with this hyper-filtered Instagram kind of a thing. So they want something real, something authentic, which Jayanti just mentioned in the previous question. So it's all about authenticity. It is all about feeling real. So this raw feeling is what is real. Consumers are very, very intelligent now, especially you guys, Gen Z. The moment you see the ad, so you see like a streamlined ad, you'll be like, okay, fine, this is an ad. So there is something that they are hiding, or this is done by an AI creative, which is the reason why, all these brands and all these platforms have actually started calling out AI created or AI created. So I think currently people are looking at that rawness. That is going to be the new luxury, because that's called the new rich premium feature in terms of brand communication. So I think, yes, realism is something which is going to go ahead, which is going to actually communicate with your consumers as a brand in a more real and in a more authentic way. Yeah, so that's my 2 bits on it. Anybody else?
I think just adding on that, look at all the brands globally, what is happening. They're all changing their narrative from a $1 million shoot to absolutely raw and visceral images. And the shift is just too massive. I think you can't now just hide under and saying, I'm a Dior or I'm a Chanel or whatever, That shift is so real, it's happening, and it's happening at a pace that you guys are actually bringing it in forth. Because our generation was very much, oh my God, I feel so old when I say our generation, so we were very acceptable. In fact, that was our North Star, that we want absolutely polished. It needs to look so premium. It needs to be in 4K. It has to deliver that charisma for me. I think you guys are over it. You guys are very real. You guys are looking for really authentic storytelling, rawness, like she said, messy realism, right? It's absolutely spot on. And that's what we are looking at in our content creator strategies as well. Anything that is curated is not getting any engagement. Anything that is shot in a way that looks made up is getting shunned by consumers. It's not getting any engagement. And anything that is real, anything that is raw, even if it is shot in a tier 3 town or a tier 2 town or in a very raw, bricks exposed, it's actually showing how authentic and honest the creator is. And I think that is going to go even more higher in a much higher pace. So yeah, I mean, it is very real and it's here.
Yeah, and I think I'll just add a little bit. So, I mean, and that is very, very visible. So, when you also see the ad shoots, so there was a time when there used to be a green screen, right? And they used to shoot anywhere and then put anything. Now, we just had a look at that Manali video shoot there. So, you're actually taking people. So, your expenses are not, your marketing expenses are no longer limited to, let's say, a celebrity doing something in front of a green screen or like his body double doing something. It's about taking the real people to real locations, whether it is shooting in a Mumbai chawl or whether it is shooting on a Rajasthan, like a completely authentic market, let's say, I mean, for example, in a Jodhpur in front of a Kila or something. So that is what is looking real, that is what we are calling out in terms of real authenticity. So beauty in its real sense of beauty is now being accepted by the consumers and not in a made up or in a, like a filtered kind of a format.
But you still need photographers, right?
We do need photographers.
Thank you so much. To Jaya ma'am, do you think brands are actually becoming more authentic, or are they just better at performing authenticity now?
So, first off, I think the use of word authentic is kind of questionable, because what is authenticity? Authenticity, nothing is authentic anymore because everything has influence from craft to food to language to people. I mean, you might be Indian, but you live in America, you are American or born there. So I would say, let's call it true stories or real stories. With the kind of platforms and tools and AI available, I think it has become very easy to create a narrative, which might not be real. But it's really up to the consumers and audiences to sift out what is real and what is not. So it's important to deep dive into something that you follow and really get to the depth of the real story.
So, as we talked about AI earlier on, I would like to ask Urvashi ma'am that do you think that so long as maybe a narrative is emotionally convincing, maybe let's say even if it's human made or if it's AI made, as long as it's emotionally convincing, do you think that consumers coming up would actually care if it's made by either of the sources?
I think yes. I think I think the consumer today is very intelligent. They, like I just said, they can, it's very easy and they're bold enough to call out. Like, say, for example, there was, if you followed it, there was a campaign that one of the, I wouldn't name, but a very big brand did by the use of AI. And it was called out all over the internet that, this is like, we do not expect FMCG giants like these using AI in their campaigns. So I think the emotional connection with consumers is, and that is actually giving rise to all these homegrown brands. Like, I am not shy, and a lot of my colleagues and friends are not shy by saying that, okay, fine, I am wearing or I buy this homegrown brand because I am emotionally, it gives me that emotional security. As a brand that, okay, fine, this is sustainable, this is authentic, this is, again, like authentic in the sense of real authenticity, in terms of if I am buying something which is artisan inspired, I know. So it's not just on top of being sustainable or on top of saying that, okay, fine, we are calling out the artisan, but or just putting him on the picture as a AI image. Are you really calling him out? Are you really sustainable in your supply chain? Are you really paying the wages well to those artisans? I think that is where the entire emotional connection comes, and I do not think AI is doing justice to that. I think there is those brands who are actually doing it via an emotional messaging is what who are winning and not otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah, like for example, let's say you watch a movie and you think the character is generated on AI. Like for example, let's say Keanu Reeves. Everybody has heard of Keanu Reeves? So let's say I've read a lot about him. I love motorcycles. and he has his motorcycle company. That's not his acting career, right? And then you read a lot about those people, how genuine they are, what do, they have donated money. All that becomes also a part, not that I'm looking at a movie where he's an action hero and killing people. I mean, you connect to people. When you know that somebody on that photograph or that picture selling something is a real person and has done hard work to become that person, you connect and say, yeah, it is possible for me. If Spider-Man is selling me something, I'll be like, oh, he's not even real. Yeah. So why is he selling me this thing that he's lifting weights or doing something, right? But if you are, like for example, if I look at Milind Soman, I'm entering that age group now, so I'm also like, oh, he does his marathon. Oh, wow, so cool. I know he's a real person. So what he does, good or bad, how he interacts with people in social media does affect me as a person. So if he sells me something, I would still, I mean, authenticity is questionable. But I would still say, oh, wow, he's doing this at this age, I can also do it, you know. So I think that will always be there. So, yeah.
AI is not art. I think we need to also understand AI is not art. AI cannot evoke the emotions that we as humans, you know, we are still going to be human. Exactly. You know, whatever you guys have done here, of course, AI has helped you, right? But the core thought, the entire intent, how are you thinking, how you want to represent yourself, AI can't do that. Whatever AI is generating, people like him have created for him to think and then generate. So it still needs that newness, right? AI is just a tool for now. Of course, it has its own brain, but it can't evoke those emotions. When you look at what Michelangelo has painted, it evokes something, right? When you go to, let's say, Qutub Minar or something, you go and you see that it evokes certain emotion. When you make a film that is true storytelling, that represents what the brand is, and it's made by real people, it actually gives you that emotive, you know, that chug. AI can't do that because it needs to still have that purposeful creation. What he's talking about, right? That process of creation is so important, and AI is learning that because there are enough and more data available and people have done it. But we still need to have newness, you know, in the picture and create something that is truly thought-provoking, which I still feel AI is still at a distance at it, and we need to be I think we need to be very guarded or at least alert. But still, I think AI is not art, is what I would say.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would just like to say that Charu mentioned process in the beginning. I think, you know, storytelling needs to have the process. Just like Urvashi also mentioned, are you bringing out the artisan? Are you bringing out, you know, who's the maker? So the entire process in the narrative is a very, very important player.
Okay, I think originality and humans' mind can't be replaced by anything.
Absolutely.
So just a follow-up on that. Do you think that as, you know, we're consuming media and content at such a fast pace, do you think that brands have enough time to create those narratives from scratch as they used to? Because, you know, we've just seen Gen Z as a whole generation that we have fully we see media and we just scroll past it. That's just how it goes. But do you think that there is something that's maybe stopping the brands from kind of building longer narratives? Because we've seen a lot of narratives just become a lot shorter coming.
See, I think most of the people have seen Dhurandhar here, right? That's a 4-hour-long movie. Everybody has sat through that movie, right? I think what Gen Zs are looking for is something that they can connect with. Brands, what I feel, and I've been into branding for the last 18, 20 years, we have this kind of surfaces. You know, there are so many opportunities to really showcase your brand with the right purpose and the right medium. I think there's abundance of surfaces now, abundance of media, abundance of content that we can create. What this generation is really looking for is that at engagement that comes at 3 to 5 seconds. I think it has come down to that. Yes, I agree, because there is so much of content available, there is so much stimulus to take in, but you pause when you really see something meaningful. And there are so much of storytelling that is happening these days. Look at how all brands are creating, like recently I saw a Flipkart ad, which is all about twins. It's a 40-second ad. People are pausing to it, people are seeing it because it is engaging enough for everyone to see and consume and process. So if it is true, if it is real, if it is connecting with you, I think we will pause and I think we will consume it, we will absorb it, and we will reflect on it. It's all about what's the idea that you're representing and how you're representing that. I think that is what it has come down to. So brands have to work much harder to create that engagement, but I don't think it should be limited to a duration as long as it is engaging enough.
Just to add on to it, so this whole concept of we have a attention span like a goldfish, I think it is a complete farce, because you guys at Gen Z, not you guys, but Gen Z does doom scroll 5-seconders, you will just keep doing that. But at the same time, if it interests you, you will watch a 3-hour video of something essaying fashion history or something. But the moment there is, in terms of a brand, if they are, and you guys, the Gen Z, again, can very easily call out, they have those, I call them BS receptors. Right? So you can immediately call that out, right? And so the moment you think that a particular brand is just giving you a created strategy to engage with you as a marketing and which might not have truth behind it, you will just scroll past it. But at the same time, if you feel connected to a certain thing, you stop, you think, you pause, and then you move ahead. So I think for a brand, in a bigger universe or looking at a bigger picture, they have to first establish a core universe of a brand in terms, whatever that narrative can be. And then there are those small, let's say 30 seconds, 5 seconds. So, and those narratives are then played as bite-sized content to consume by the consumers. So I think that is going to be the way forward for brands and for fashion or any kind of brand to communicate with their consumers going forward.
I would just like to... Yeah, sorry. So what I would like to add is consistency. I think storytelling has to be consistent. It has to keep going on. And I'm not going with the time span of what reels are like, but if a brand has a consistency in what they stand by or what they want to talk about, they eventually do gather their customers. And beyond storytelling, it's the product. The product has to speak. So if your product is good and your storytelling is consistent, I think your customer is not going anywhere.
Correct. Actually, great example. I think a great insight. There's just one brand that has been consistent for the last 100 years. It's Amul. Right? One medium, one ad, 4 lines or 4 words, right? And people stop, people watch it, people share it, people make it viral. And it's absolutely topical. It was topical when topical marketing was not even a word, right? So exactly, you wait for that. Correct. So, and it takes your attention, it asks for that attention. It's been 100 years. It has went through generations of consumption, of, looking at that stimulus. And it's stayed true to its core. So I think that is getting more and more rampant. It has to be, because there is just too many mediums. So if you're saying TV पे आप कुछ और बोल रहे हो, social media पे आप कुछ और बोल रहे हो, event पे आप कुछ और बोल रहे हो, it's not relatable at all because everything is getting broadcasted. So you have to be consistent.
What I want to add here is that we always say that advertising and everything is aspirational. We always use the word aspirational. बहुत हो गया aspirational. Aspiration से अब लोगों को ना depression हो रहा है. क्योंकि हर चीज़ is aspirational. They are always telling you are not that person. You need to buy this, you need to buy that. You get up in the morning, you're like, अरे मैं इस पे Flipkart पे देखूँ, मैं इस पे देखूँ, उस पे देखूँ, Amazon पे ये देखूँ. You get up in the morning and you get up with that feeling, I'm not enough. So that narrative has to change now. Now the narrative is, I understand you. we were talking about this. I'll give you an example. There are so many women, and I have women here, and I've shot women all my life. 24 years of my life, I have done advertising work, and women have been my bread and butter. And I can openly say, representation of women, especially in India, in 25 years, women have worked so hard in this country. But look at what the advertising shows. You're women, you tell me, are you those women you see in advertising today's day and age? No, it's going somewhere else. You know, I mean, where is that person? Like so many of my friends, when they were getting ready in their traditional costume, and they were like, "Hey, cigarette pilana hai, jaldi se. You know, I have to go." So where is all that? Where is that authenticity? I'm asking you in this particular field. What I'm shooting today is totally not the women I know around me. How hard they have worked to go to that. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to say cigarettes and all? Is your but that's true. That's real life, right? Yeah. So वो चाय की टपरी पे जाके, I was talking to some cop the other day of some issue, and he came home, and my wife is German, and she was telling, what is he saying? What is he saying? He said, you know, ये तो होता ही है सर. देखो अब लड़की बाहर जाके सिगरेट पिएगी तो उस पे. And I couldn't explain my wife what he was saying. Like, this is ridiculous. This is a cop saying this. So women have worked really hard. But do we see that? So what is the confusion in the mind? Aspirational kya hai? You know, something that I have decided that a woman should look like this. You know, so that is something that we have to change. We have to kill this pressure that we are living under all the time. You know, sorry, I forgot the name. The girl who had done the thing with Aditi, the one, she's put like, you can choose your daily thing and then you can wear comfort if you are feeling pulse. Amazing, amazing. You are trying to say, okay, get up in the morning, I am with you. Does anybody say that? No, get up. You know, EMI bharna hai bhai kal. To kahan se aayenge ideas? So that's important.
So I'm sure photography has also changed in the context of what we're talking. And earlier, fashion imagery was about perfection, but now it seems to be like rawness is what sells better online. So do you think the rise of AI-generated images will make human-made images gain more value?
Honestly, not yet. That is yet to come. That river is still flowing in that direction. When it meets the ocean, we'll see. But right now, no, I don't think so. I'll not paint some image here. You guys will do it, and I'll be very happy if you guys do it. We were flowing in the river, so we had only one direction to go in, you know. But you guys you're creating an ocean, so you can flow in any direction you want. That's the difference now, you know. I mean, we could go against the river or with the river, but when you are in the ocean, you can go in any direction. So I would say no, not yet. It's a new thing. Everybody is trying to toy with it, you know. Oh wow, this gets generated, that gets generated. But maybe in the next 5 years, 10 years, that hype will come down. Yes, but you're right. Things are happening, and you know. But the models I know, the women I know, they are still trying to be anorexic, thin. They want to go to Italy. All the models, they want to become that size, and that fashion is coming from them. Our Indian women are so beautiful the way they are. Why do they have to have a certain hip size and that shit that they have created? You know, that's their fashion narrative. We have to create our own, you know. Yeah.
Thank you. Now this is open to everyone. With digital content moving so fast, do you think attention spans are actually shrinking, or are people just more selective now? And I think the Gen Z will be a great example to have, keeping in mind this, because
I think I already answered it.
yeah.
I already answered it.
I think you guys are using attention as a currency. That's it. I mean, it's a currency you will spend only where you find it meaningful. And I think that's established. We used to watch everything. I mean, you know, our generations have grown up watching everything because it was so new. It was so uninitiated. Nothing was available to us when Friends came, or when, you know, all of these ads used to come. I mean, I'm from advertising. I was told, "Pure din baith ke ads dekho." Right? That is how you're forming your point of views. And we were supposed to create ads that were, an abundance of ads were made. And you guys are right now very clear ki if it is really worthy of my attention, I will not hit swipe. I will pause it, I will share it, I will comment on it, I will save it. And this is so real time. We never had that. हम paper का clipping काट के रखते थे. I mean, I remember that because I come from marketing. That was very important for us. कि this ad has spoken to me in a way. So it's a currency. I don't think there is deficiency of it. I think you are more intent of this because you have so much stimulus exposed to you. So you're also using it very intentfully. And hence the burden is on us. So that we make stories which are so relatable that it makes you pause and say, you know what, I really liked it, I want to share it with somebody. So that, I think, and there's a difference, there's a nuance difference. It's not deficiency, at least in my POV, honestly.
Well, I think there's over-information and people are bored. I mean, I'm definitely bored scrolling Instagram. So yeah, I think there's just too much. But like Jayanti said, that if there's really something that catches your eye, you do stick to it. But otherwise, you're looking for that. You're looking for that. So you're scrolling away, and yeah.
I think the mediums have changed. So we used to, like you rightly said, we used to look at newspaper clippings. We used to look at, we used to read a lot of books, whether they were fiction, non-fiction. But you guys, for the younger consumer these days, I think those mediums have changed. You are still listening to audiobooks, which is as good as reading. The medium has changed. You are still looking at longer movies. The medium has changed. Probably it is not coming as a documentary. It is coming as a podcast. It is coming as a YouTube, longer video or something like that. So it's just the change in medium. So saying that you don't have an attention span, I think you have a better attention span. You have better ability to retain that information, because the way the Gen Z thinks, just rewind back to 20-25 years, were we ever able to give these kind of narratives and have the kind of conversations? I mean, a 15-year-old, his point of view currently, when they talk, what they think of what is happening around them, it really surprises me. I mean, you have these younger colleagues who are coming in, and all of us have Gen Zs in our teams. The way they are behaving, like I have a girl in my team who's the junior most, who's just out of college. She's a fashion grad. Since class 12, I was looking at her CV. She has not sat idle for a single day. She's been doing internships. So before she started her first job, she's probably completed some 15 internships of different levels. And that really impressed me. I mean, were we ever able to do that? Never, I mean. So that is how it is. And now she's doing coding. So she's a fashion graduate with no technical, like those coding kind of an understanding. But she's found her way out in whatever. And she's creating that robot. And she's saying that in another 2 months, she's going to put something on her desk. So when we come there, that robot is going to probably, and that really excites me. I mean, it's going to understand her mood and then accordingly behave. Like she's creating that. I mean, we cannot even, I don't think the millennials can actually do it right now also. So, yeah.
But at the same time, I would also like to say, take it easy. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Everybody doesn't have to be rich and famous. Everybody doesn't have to, don't waste your time. Please waste your time. It's all right. We did that. I mean, I don't even remember, sometimes after college, just sitting in one room with 3 friends and listening to music. Yeah, what the hell? Like no phones, nothing. We had nothing. So, like I said, process. Otherwise, you will only gain information from the information given to you. Go to Lodi Garden, sit there. Chill, kuch bhi mat karo. Life is long. That life that you have, you don't have to become, because I've seen on internet, they show कि 12 साल के बच्चे ने अभी वो अपना स्टार्टअप खोल के सब, और उसके बाद क्या करेगा? फिर रही क्या मैं तो अभी सोच रहा हूँ कि अभी मेरे को क्या करना है. मेरा बैंक बैलेंस कम हो रहा है, मेरे पास फोटोग्राफी का काम ही नहीं है. And it's okay. So Take it easy. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, and retire and do what? Again, consume. Go to malls, buy a Ferrari, buy this, buy that, buy. Matlab,
Charu, what is happening is now the Gen Z is taking those small sabbaticals. So they will work 1 year, they'll work very hard, save that money, not save that money, I don't know. But then suddenly they will take off for two months, go on a trek. So they are also, they're doing things differently is what I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you. All I'm trying to say is, वो ट्रैक के पीछे भी एक कोई पर्पस है. तो मैं बोलो मत करो, पर्पस मत नहीं, पर्पसलेस भी चलता है कई बारी. कुछ भी नहीं है. You will realize वो अच्छा है. You should have regrets. We are human beings. We are allowed to have regrets. We are allowed to have, joys, failures. Very important. You failed in something. That everything cannot become like perfect. Because then AI will give you perfect. It will give you a market survey, research, statistics, it will give you everything. So, नहीं क्यों करना है यार? अरे अब you meet like I met my wife after a long time. यार इतने सारे hit and tries, you did all that. सब अब AI बताएगा कि this is the perfect woman for you. ये बिल्कुल in a party I will have a chashma and I'll look at the women. I'll say, oh, suits me. ये गुस्सा नहीं होती ज़्यादा. इसके psychologist ने बोला है ये ऐसी है, ये ऐसी है, ऐसी है. चलेगा क्या? नहीं ना. तो वही.
I know perfection is also being fed to them because look at the feed. Everything needs to look a certain way. And they are, again, tech is both good and bad, right? Because you guys are also seeing so much of things happening, people making so much of money, right? So 1000 कंटेंट क्रिएटर में से 10 ही ऐसे होते हैं जो बहुत आगे जाते हैं, बट वो 10 की ही स्टोरी हो रही है, वो बाकी 900 की स्टोरी नहीं हो रही है. सो गाइस रियली टेक इट ईजी, जस्ट गो विद द पेस दैट यूर एट. कभी कभी फ़ोन बंद करना इज़ अ वेरी गुड थिंग. Keep your phone down, just absorb, like purposeless. So I think there's also a narrative where you're not supposed to fail because look how this content creator has made big, right? Look what is this brand doing with this collaborator or the designer and all. So take it slow. I think slowness is what is going to be the most expensive thing in the future. Because world is moving at such a fast pace, the entire idea of slowness is going to get even more premiumized. So I think just take it in. You don't have to be reactive. You don't have to be obsessed with it. Just be with the flow, I think.
I still don't have 6 packs, by the way. I tried really hard. Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe you should retire early. At least you're not consuming it.
That should be the closing room.
Yeah, you should.
I'm just wondering, where do we get men like you, man?
Right here. Right here.
One men like you. In Germany.
Okay, we're going to have some quick questions now. One thing in fashion storytelling you think will disappear in the next decade? In fashion storytelling, in the fashion industry, in any kind of narratives that are being put out, any kind of what the brands are putting out, what us as students, when I'm sure in the next decade we'll be well set in our jobs.
I think hyper-indulgence. I think that is hyper-indulgence and filters, I would say. Yeah.
I won't know. I'm confused.
I don't know, maybe more rooted stories. I think what I'm seeing these days is a lot of cultural nuances are getting built. So maybe that will take more of a front seat, and the idea of Western, like he said, right? Why does she have to be a size 0? So I think the more real and Indian storytelling would take more of a front runner as the more storytelling narrative than the idea of westernized beauty or the westernized fashion, at least in my point of view.
No, I'll just wait and watch.
And one thing audiences will value the most, convenience, authenticity, or aspiration.
I think we're already in the convenience world right now, but authenticity or realism is what, and like she said, slow is going to be luxury.
I feel the modern consumer is actually looking at, looking at going back to their traditions, but at the same time, they are also looking at the convenience and lightning speed of the modern e-commerce. So that's my take on that.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll just open the floor for a quick Q&A now.
Questions, please.
Good afternoon, panelists. So my question is, we had a brief conversation about authenticity and originality. So now in the world where there are so many trends and so much information all around us, how can all of these young students maintain originality and be very original?
I mean, honestly, just look at what everyone is wearing here. There is nobody who's following a very normal way of trends, right? I mean, I saw somebody who's wearing a brocade corset, a Banarasi corset. Yes. I think this is the way to maintain yourself as original, as authentic. Just be yourself. It is going to be much harder, I must say this. It is going to be much harder for you to maintain who you are at a very continuum level, because you would, fall back, you will fail, you would want to change yourself, you would want to follow somebody else's way of working or wearing. But staying true to yourself will actually will help you maintain your originality. And the more you do this, the more you accept yourself as a person, I think it's going to get even more stronger going forward. So just take that nugget of yourself and keep it somewhere in your mind and be very, very confident about yourself. And be very happy to fail, because you are going to fail. So, I mean, yes, it is going to happen, right? So I think the more acceptable you are of yourself, the more authentic you will be.
Thank you so much.
First of all, compliments, a lovely panel discussion. I just wanted to know, for students, the advice has been, of course, diverse here. Would you advise them to go beyond the college curriculum and get into learning various forms of coding and things to supplement their college curriculum for a future? Or would you advise them to kind of hold on and do it later on, depending on what is the requirement of their profile later at a later stage? Or should they start right from second year, third year?
Well, I would say they should do what they like to do and continue that. And of course, it's such a long journey. I mean, they're just starting off, and there will be so many more stages where they will be able to continue to learn, of course. But if you're studying design, then design should be your calling, and that's why you're probably studying it. So you must first take that first step in your design world and then see where it takes you.
I mean, yes, of course, you should take it slow. I mean, that's where the whole idea of taking slow. But you should also be able to at least have certain understanding of how world is working, so that you can make certain choices. You don't have to do everything at this age or at this stage, but be very aware of how the world is changing and what kind of change do you want to build, and then therefore learn. So a lot of IITs go into MBAs because they never wanted to be an engineer. So, and that's the whole 3-4 year of your age where you realize what is it that you want to do. So I think that the 3 year, 2 year, whatever it is, that duration where you become very self-assured without losing who you are, but still knowing what is it that the world is going for. I think take that time in and then decide how you want to do. Because the time that you spend so much, of course, it's not going to get wasted, but you could have done what you would have wanted to do. So rather than starting again, just take that in and see how things are changing and how you want to be a part of that change.
I mean, you guys have got a great foundation here. You've learned the techniques. Now it's time to go out backpack. Don't learn about the world on Instagram. You go to Japan, sit there, look at people, observe. You'll get inspiration from there. See, I've seen this. Lot of people I know abroad. What they do is they take pauses. So after 12th, maybe they'll go somewhere, do some work, then decide, then join college, university, then they will travel again and see the. In India, we don't encourage that. We are like, अच्छा 12वीं पास किया, अब क्या करेगा, फिर 12वीं हो गया, शादी, बच्चे खत्म हो गया, तब तक you are like in that linear line. Don't make that linear line for yourself, is what I would say. You've got great foundation in an institute like this. Now, once you go out, what you've learned here, you got to go out and see if it works, it doesn't work. That's where your individuality comes in, Create that, because otherwise this Instagram and all will eat you up, You will, people know about some martial art somewhere happening and they will give you a whole lecture on it. You know better than a doctor today. Doctor देख के बोलेगा अच्छा Instagram पे देखा ना ये, I know. So go see the world.
Thank you all for this enriching discussion. It has been an honor to have you here today. To conclude, while authenticity might still be the emotional need state for fashion, the palette will always move towards community, identity, and being true to yourself. I would now like to request Sandeep sir to come on stage and announce the awards for today.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, panelists. Gratitude for taking out the time and sharing all this informative and fun conversation that we've had together. And I have some... are you all holding your breath? But before that, I'd like to thank people who are involved here to make this happen. First of all, the entire panelists who've been here. Thank you so much for being here. Then Dr. Jitin, thank you so much for being here, taking out the time and making this happen. Usha ma'am, thank you so much. My entire fashion communication colleagues, Ria, Priyanka, Nikita, Achint, who's not here, he's working somewhere else right now, and even Disha Gaur and Avik, who was there earlier, and my personal thanks to the entire fashion design department. Shipra, Smriti, Hiren, Nisafi, everybody for supporting and making this really happen. So, and then, furthermore, all the L4, level 4 students who've been involved in this entirely right from day one. Woo! All the level 5 who've been involved in this entirely. Oh yes, second and third year. Ma'am, you're supposed to sit just 5 more minutes. Okay now. And we also have our own fashion communication team, which is called Fashion Exchange, led by Nandini and the team. So everything that you see out in the world is all done by them. Nandini, thanks so much, and the entire team, Ahana and Myra. Thank you so much. And now comes the moment of truth. I would like to announce the awards, and let's go by interesting names. All decided by the external jury, and everybody made it. So before anything else, I just want to quickly say that everybody who's made it here from level 4 to level 5, passed all these places and arrived to level 6, and finally made it here, all of you are my stars. And of course, you've made me proud. This is our very first fashion communication batch who's going to graduate. Are you sure? Are you going to graduate? All right. All right. So without wasting any further time, I would like to request Urvashi ma'am to present the award for most innovative project. And this goes to, can you present, please? Shivain Kalra. Stride. Is it the most unexpected? So now everybody, come back because you have some surprises. Please come here, come back. We'll move to the next one. Urvashi ma'am, please be here. The next one is Dhurandhar. Adidas, Shreyans Johar for winning the best industry project. Have a picture? Yeah. Shreyans wins the best industry project, and he's been consistent at working with Adidas, being involved in all the campaigns that has happened all throughout, and he's been a brilliant student all throughout. So I'm very proud. Yeah. Okay. I have another. Shivain is here? Now you wait for it. Last. Yeah. I would like to request Charudat to come and please present the award for special recommendation for Manali. Himanshu Som. For making it happen, everything all by himself. He went to Manali, he collaborated with all the brands possible, all the organizations, and then he made it happen. He did all the shoot at Manali. So congratulations, Himanshu. Okay, next one is a bouncer. And I hope that person is here. The award for Best Project for Social Impact is Aditi Pandey. The judges were so impressed by her work for taking up her mother as an inspiration, and then she took photography and she took pictures of different people in uniform and made it all happen. Congratulations, Aditi. And the guy finally who needs to do legs more, who's launched the brand called Stride, is Shivain Kalra. No, please. And is that it? Give some more? Okay. So this entire batch has been waiting for me to give a little speech of farewell. I haven't scripted anything. I haven't prepared anything, but I just want to say that, of course, I have always been proud of each one of you from not day one, I don't know. You guys were not proud of me. We started with one room, and again, I will repeat the same thing which you've heard time and again, that one Muskan Kaur, please stand up, who said that, sir, class kahan pe banegi? Sneha coming and saying ki, I want to do filmmaking, and finally she created an amazing film. And everybody had some dreams and some thoughts with lots of doubts, because this being the first batch, you all have actually made it as a great benchmark for the rest of the fashion communication department. And I'm really proud of each one of you. Although I am personally pissed with all of you, I'll say that. But that's internal. But yes, I'm very, very proud of each one of you. All right? That's it. Thank you. And yeah. And ma'am, just souvenirs dena hai, I'll just yeah, okay, yeah. So I have some gifts for the panelists. Please be around.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just wanted to take a moment to thank all our panelists for a lovely discussion. I think it was so relevant for all of us. It beautifully sums up the conversations that we have with the students. In fact, I caught them for coffee before this panel and they went at it because I think the energy of the students had rubbed off. So I asked them to hold on because this conversation needs to happen in the panel. So thank you so much for lovely insights, for leaving us with such lovely thoughts. I think a lot of them will take a holiday now. But thank you. Thanks for your valuable time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.